Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, something a little bit different today, apart from camping and motorcycling. I thought I'd show you how to refurbish the alloy wheels on a Mercedes, or if you've got the contrast cut alloy wheels on another car. I'll show you how to do it without incurring significant expense. This doesn't provide for lacquering the alloy afterwards. However, I've opted not to do that because I've had 3 sets of Mercedes wheels lacquered on this car, and after a year or 2, the lacquer just starts to deteriorate and peel off. I'll show you exactly what I mean right now. So you can probably see here, basically with the contaminants from the road, the brake discs and everything, the lacquer just starts to deteriorate. However, the actual painted surface on the non-contrast cut part of the wheel is perfect, and this car's 15 years old. So I'll just show you what I've done with the other wheels and how the process goes. This is one of the other wheels that I did last year. It's holding up absolutely fine. It just gets washed. I give the alloy a little polish once every few months and it looks absolutely fine. I do have new hubcaps actually in the house. I haven't changed them yet, so I'll probably do that today on all 4 wheels, as I'm now onto the last one. So I'm basically using a Baco 625 tungsten blade scraper, and what you have to do is, you've got to be very careful, but what you have to do is remove the lacquer. So on my first wheel, I tried this process by sanding it off, but it's a little bit more tricky because the sander can slip onto the painted section. So this method that I'm using now, if you're going to do this at home, is proven on my 3 wheels I've done up to now as the sort of easiest method. And of course, if you want to, you can simply just sand the lacquer off, but I did try that, and what happens is you end up with a lot of DA sander marks left in the alloy that you've then got to get out and then polish it. Whereas with this scraper, it leaves the alloy virtually polished. So you can use, for example, a P400 grit disc to then go over the wheel, get out the rest of the marks, and then continue with the polishing. So this is the first section. I've actually tried one wheel, taking it off the car, putting it on the ground. It was in some ways easier to do. I've done them on the car like this. Today I'm just going to do it on the car like this because I've just had the wheels off to get some work done and all the nuts are all torqued up and everything. So I'm just going to continue like this. So what I'm doing today is I'm just doing this outside rim, and you'll notice if you've got any curb damage on the outside of this rim, with this tungsten blade you can actually smooth out the curve damage. So I've done that section there, and then I'll probably end up rolling the car back and forward so I've got the best angle to work from for removing the lacquer. You'll see that as I'm scraping off here now, the areas where it's deteriorated, they just peel straight off, but the other areas where the lacquer is actually not suffering any deterioration, you have got to apply a little bit of pressure to get that lacquer off there. So I'm just going to carry on now with this, and I'll come back once I've done a little bit more. So you'll probably see as I'm going, as you scrape it off, you might have some, very slight remnants of lacquer there, which is very thin. That does come off with, for example, a P400 disc quite quickly. But obviously, if you want to spend a bit more time and get that off completely, it's better. So when you get down to this part of the wheel where you've got some curves, it's a little bit more fiddly here, and you'll probably see when I sand it, it's harder to get that polished, but that's just the nature of the beast. If you don't want to buy new center caps, then it's probably a good idea to take them off. I haven't, because I've got new hubcaps to go on there, so I just don't want the hassle of trying to prise them off right now. So I've got that section done there now. That's taken me about 10 minutes, and I'm just going to carry on moving around this way right now. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure I've got any preference either between doing this with a wheel off on the floor or doing it like this with a wheel in situ. I've tried all sorts of different methods. One I had on the floor, one I jacked the car up so I could spin the wheel round, and the other one I just did like this. I'm not sure there's a better way or a worse way to do it, but it's just, I think it's whatever you feel like on the day. This is going quite happily this morning, so to be honest, I cannot be arsed to jack the car up and take the wheel off. So I'm just going to continue like this. You've just got to be careful really, especially down here. And I think the trick to that is hold your scraper quite close to the end, so you're not going to risk slipping with it. That's what happened on the other two. Slipped and put a little scratch in the silver paint, which is all right, and then had to wet and dry that out to a certain extent. So it's, as I say, it's much better to just be a bit more careful, a bit more time consuming on this part of it. So I've got that done up to there. I'm now going to carry on. Actually, just a thought as I'm progressing here, I've just thought Baco actually make a rounded blade for this particular scraper, which in hindsight you might be able to get into them curves a little bit better. So if you're going to do this, might be worth having a look at the round blade that Baco make for the scraper, which I haven't got, but nevertheless you can still do it perfectly easily with a flat blade. There we go, as you can see. So you probably see here where this rim here in way of the area of the lacquer that was actually going, it's got a little bit of pitting in the alloy, but the good thing about this Baco scraper is you can actually shave off the top of the alloy and shave that pitting out of there. So that's quite good. Anywho, I've just rolled the car forward a tad, just so make this a bit more easier to do from this angle. I'm just working my way around the top of this rim now, towards doing the other section of the wheel. Oh, look, that's what's going to happen if you don't pay attention. Get a little nick. So you've just got to be really careful, because this scraper is very sharp. But at the same time, guys, that's the nature of the beast when you're doing this as a home job and you're not painting the insides. However, you'll see the end result, even if you get a little nick or a little bit of sand DA mark on your silver paint, it's negligible. Stay with me. So once you get the wheel to this point where you've got all your lacquer off, it's time to get some more gear. Give me a couple of minutes and I'll be back. It's important to say, the longer you spend getting your lacquer off, the less time you're going to have to spend on the next process. Right guys, I've been and got the gear for the next part of the process, which I'm using a conventional Hitachi DA sander. It is good if your backing pad is in reasonable good condition, because you're going to find that you're going to have to use that edge quite precisely, so you don't want a backing pad that's all worn out on the edge. I've been to Pinmar, got myself a selection of discs ranging from 180, 400, 600 up to 2000. So the next part of the process is to be very careful, sand the alloy and try not to hit the painted section. So that's the first hit with the 180. I'm not going to do the edge with the 180 because it's pretty well cleaned off there. You need your coarser grit disc for getting in more around this hub area. So I'm going to go on to a finer disc now to get that edge done, which I'm going to use a 400 very carefully. It's important to get your disc centralized on the pad. There we go. One thing you've got to watch is as you're going around that edge, because of the DA action of the sand, it wants to jump off onto this part. So you've got to be careful the sander doesn't jump off there. So I'm going to continue sanding it up now. This is going to take 10 minutes, so I'll just stop the video because it's the boring part. So that's the wheel completely sanded back, all the lacquers off it. I've used quite a bit of 2000 grit on this just to polish out the marks on the DA. There's a few tiny little scratches there. I'm not really too worried about that. It's a 15-year-old car. Really just wanted to get all that unsightly lacquer off. So the next step of the process is to use a standard machine polisher. This is just a Hitachi with quite a firm head on it. I'm going to use some Autosol, which is an abrasive metal polish. Put some of that on there. And just to wet it up a bit, I'm going to mix it up with a little bit of this really good stuff, this Mother's Mag aluminium polish. So I'll just wet my head up there. This is probably going to make a little bit of a mess. I'm just foreseeing this. Make sure there's plenty polish actually on the rim itself. And then we will be working from there. Yeah, it's always Always better to polish on the rim and not too much on the machine. And incidentally, this has took me now probably about 45 minutes to get to this stage. So not too bad in comparison with what I would have to pay to get these wheels professionally done. And we'll see the results at the end. I'll just carry on with the polishing now. This is going to take a few minutes. So that's the wheel now fully polished. I've moved the car forward to make sure I've got all angles done. The next step is to wash all the polish off, clean the wheel, evaluate where we are. Do we have to do a little bit of wet and drying and compound polishing to get any little marks out of the metallic paint. At this time, I'll tell you about a little experiment I've just done. This is Craft Alloy Wheel Cleaner that I bought here in Mallorca. It's shit. I mean, honestly, you might as well just get a dish of soapy water and use a dish of soapy water. It just is like, it's crap, to be honest. It might be all right on a brand new car that you've driven for a week and you just want to clean the wheels. But when it comes to older cars with ground on baked black wheel dust, it's just did absolutely nothing. So just moving on, this one is made by CV, and I don't really get the impression that was much more different to the Craft, because basically you could just put your nose in that bottle and smell it all day. There's just no strength to it. Anywho, I bought this from the local garage, turtle wax cleaner, and that is actually 10 times better than the other two. But when I was putting it on, I thought, oh, it was getting on my chest. I thought, what the hell is that smell? And then I realised it's like pH minus, sulfuric acid, essentially what you put in the swimming pool. So I recognised the smell from when I was doing the pool. So, anywho, what I did was, I had half of this, which has got some detergent based to it, and I topped that up with pH minus, used it on the wife's cars. The wheels were just like baked black. She's never cleaned the wheels for like 8 years. And this 50-50 with pH minus, I'm not kidding, 5 minutes and all the black just came straight off with a cloth. It was just like phenomenal. So there's a little tip if you got really baked on old alloy wheels, how to get all the black brake dust off. And it will actually go in right in the back of this wheel right now and get all of that baked on stuff right off. So I'm going to crack on now. I'm just going to I'll give it a little bit of a wet up with this, but then I'm just going to use the normal stuff because quite frankly. I don't really need to use anything more. And just get all the crap off the wheel now, and then I'll come back to you once I've washed it. These wheels are actually pretty well maintained anyway, so all this should just come straight off. But yeah, look at that, you can see already the difference between what they were like and what the polish has done up to now. I'm just going to go and get the hose pipe so I can wash this off properly. So guys, that's it finished. I will probably now, I've just washed it off there. I will probably now put some car wax on it, such as Colonite, which is a really good wax. But as you can probably see, from what we started with this morning, it's took me about an hour and a half to do that wheel in situ. Material wise, I've used a little bit of polish. I think I've used about 10 orbital sanding discs, my sander and my polish. That's it. So materials, I don't know, maybe 10 euros or something like that. And for me, that is just such a fantastic improvement to what it was before. It's inevitable you will get a little nick somewhere on your paint if you're not careful. I've got a couple of little nicks. I'm not too worried because it's a 15-year-old car, and really I just wanted to get that unsightly lacquer off the wheel, to be honest. So there we go. I'll give you a quick look around the car, and I'll show you the other wheels that have been in the same condition without the lacquer since I think February, and we'll go from there. The radio's just come on for some reason. So there you go. That's that wheel I've just done there. I'll just do a little walk around. That's the first one I actually did in situ. That was done back in February, I think, and as you can see, it just washed it off there, and it looks absolutely amazing. That was all gone on the lacquer. Show you around here. There's the other one. That was done, I think, 6 months ago. I just keep it polished, give it a little bit of wax over the alloy now and again. Absolutely fine. And just moving to the front. There we go. That's the other front one that was done about 2 months ago, I think. So again, for me, they look absolutely fantastic. I don't know what you guys think. Leave a comment downstairs in the comments. So there we go, guys. That brings us to the end of refurbishing the alloy wheels on a W204 Mercedes, which is 15 years old. I hope you've enjoyed the little video there, and it's been helpful. If you want to do this, it's a little bit time consuming, but for me, it's well worth it. Thanks for watching this little video that's not my usual stuff, and if you like the channel, don't forget to click and subscribe. Take care, see you later.